Hello, everyone. Welcome to Yarmouth Frame and Gallery. We are here today to interview Catherine Breer about her work and her process. My name is Beth, and let's get started. So, Catherine, tell us how it began for you.
Well, I always loved art. Always wanted to be an artist. I used to sleep with a sketchbook beside my bed so that I could sketch first thing in the morning. So, from the time I think I was 2, I was drawing. I went to art school, and just is something that is, I think, just inside of me.
That's a great story. So would you draw those sketches from your day or telling stories? What did that look like?
I think I was just drawing anything. I remember when I was probably 18 months old. I don't remember this, but my mother kept all the sketchbooks. I was drawing witches and horses, and my children were scribbling at that age, and I think it was just something that I always wanted to do.
Yeah, well, me, spiritual. I think you probably took it and brought it from a past life. That's what it sounds like. So, yeah, tell me about the first time you started selling your work.
So I went to art school, and I painted a little bit after that, but then I kind of embarked on a career, had children, and it was not until I think I was in my mid-30s, and there was a blank spot on the wall in my house, and I said to my husband, maybe I'll hire somebody to paint something for that spot. And he said, well, that's ridiculous. You should do something. So I did, and I live in Freeport, Maine, and I knew that at the library they would have shows. So once I started painting, I painted that large painting, and then I just couldn't stop.
Wow.
And it's funny because it wasn't a time in my life that I had a lot of extra time, but it was something it clicked.
Yeah.
And so I had a first show at the library. I can't even remember, maybe 2000. And I sold some work, and it was just so exciting because it was like, well, maybe this is something I can do.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, you went to art school, you let that go. I hear this story a lot where people take a break for whatever reason, and then they somehow find themselves getting back into it.
Yeah.
What were some of the obstacles? Did you feel like that? Were you a little scared to approach the library?
I was a little scared. It's putting yourself out there and, opening yourself up to judgment, or not judgment, but criticism, or just
it's all there.
What are people going to think?
Yep.
And so, it was a little challenging in that way, but also it was challenging with my life and having small children and having a full-time job. But I remember it was a feeling of like I've got this ball rolling. I can't stop. I would paint at night and on the weekends and whenever I could.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
I think I did something similar when I was raising kids and I found something that I could do creative in the time that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about your style, because honestly, I love it, clearly. And it's so clean and so colorful and joyful. How did you arrive?
Well, it's definitely been a journey. I remember back when I was kind of starting out, I was very influenced by the Buddhist temples in Korea. I grew up in Korea.
Yeah, let's hear a little of that story.
Yeah, and
too.
so it's interesting. I never really put 2 and 2 together until later on, about how the Buddhist temples have beautiful graphic patterns and very colorful. And I think it's that combination of pattern, color, and the sort of the graphic nature that sort of found its way into my work.
Nice.
And then it's definitely evolved over the past 20 years, where I think my palette has narrowed a little bit. It's, it depends on what I'm painting. Like this painting down here definitely has more color in it, but I find that sometimes if I limit my palette, it creates a deeper, richer painting.
I see that.
Like in this one.
Yeah, when people come into the gallery and they stand in front of it, you can see their whole body just kind of rise up and really want to, I don't know, connect with it in some special way. I've never seen anyone just, walk on by. They always stop. They always look. Yeah.
I think that's one of the most fulfilling things for me is hearing from people who own my paintings and have them in their homes and how much joy and happiness it brings them.
Mm-hmm.
Then that makes me feel like, I'm conveying that feeling that I get to the viewer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it certainly does come through, and you certainly travel a lot to do your work. Do you photograph or do you do sketches? How do you?
I do both, but I mostly paint in my studio, so from photographs and sketches. I do some plein air, but not as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of tricky
It
here in
is.
Maine.
The flies and the wind and the paint drying out and the
cloud move
falling over and it can be challenging.
For sure. So have I missed anything?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I'm gonna move the camera. We're gonna look at this piece behind me. It's about Acadia, and Catherine had the honor of representing their 200th. So we're gonna look at that and talk about Acadia. We'll be right back. So here we are. This is part of Acadia here in Maine. It happened to be my backyard growing up. I'm very lucky with that. But for you, Catherine, tell us the story about how that happened for you.
In I think it was 2012 was the centennial. There was a logo contest, and in my other life I'm a graphic designer, and so I decided I would enter the logo contest. And I won. So my logo represented the centennial. For Acadia. And then I got thinking about how much I love Acadia. Used to take the kids up there every summer. It's just beautiful. There's so much variation in lakes and ocean and forest, and it's just beautiful. So I got thinking, maybe I could do a series of paintings of Acadia, and that's how that came about.
Very nice. I know as a gallery we've sold just about all of them, and that was a large body of work.
It was.
We have a few left. I think we've got the chapel and I don't know another one, but yeah, very, very interesting because the tides, just the trip around that point, which is Bar Harbor, is so amazing there.
There's just so much variety in subject matter there. And
it must have taken you
nature.
a little while to really get enough of the images. What was that? Was it like a year-long process?
I had been up there quite a bit and done a lot of photography in the past, but yeah, it took a while to sort of get all the subject matter together and figure out what I was going to paint.
Yeah, well, they came through beautifully. And I like this one in particular. It has that path leading you through. And when you must have been on a walk, probably, when you
Yep.
saw this?
Yep. And I love, the thing I I think they're talking about the natural world, and it's light and shadow that really interests me, and those play on the rocks and the ground and how it just sort of shifts and changes. And I just love finding those extraordinary moments. In sort of an ordinary day.
You paint in acrylic. Has it always been acrylic?
Yeah, I do paint in acrylic, and mostly it's because of the toxicity of oil. Mm-hmm. So that's been my primary medium.
Was it ever a challenge? I know back in the day when acrylics first came out, they were quite different than the acrylics
They've
today.
definitely improved. But yeah, I think over the years it has become a little easier. But it's definitely a challenge if you're painting plein air because it dries out so fast.
Mm-hmm. So I've got one other question for you, and I know, a lot of people might be interested in hearing how you moved into having a gallery. Mm-hmm. I know that you've done it all.
I have.
Sidewalk, library. I mean, you really put a lot of energy into it. And I remember, because we are her gallery, we have everything here.
You do, yeah.
And it's been such a great working and professional experience with you. I would love to share that story.
Well, I did it all on my own for a long time. I did the library show in Freeport every year for probably 14 years. I would do all the advertising, print all the posters, do all the PR. I did sidewalk art festivals. I did all kinds of things, tried other galleries. But when I first came here, I remember feeling like, I've got a home here. And also what I love is the other artists. There's such a complementary work here. And also just being able to trust and know that, you are representing me how I want to be represented, and that I don't have to schedule studio visits to my house and do it all on my own. It's just been, it's been a relief, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. For me, the gallery is just a larger work of art. It's to hang the work and to have that flow and the feel of the gallery. It's more of a salon feel, more of a friendly feel rather than something colder and, piece by piece, which has its place.
Right.
But
and I love that you have all my works here. There are some in the back as well, because as over the years, you end up with quite a few. And it's just nice that I can just send people here, and I know that you're going to take really great care of them and really show them the work in the light that it deserves.
Thank you.
So
Well, I think that might be it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I just want to add that we had a piece that Catherine just finished. It's gorgeous. We didn't really even get a good photograph of it. Somebody bought it yesterday, but I'm going to post that photograph, and we'll get a little snippet of Catherine talking about the creativity and the style and all of that behind that piece as well. So it'll be coming just right up. So thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure, Catherine. And as always, if you want to know more, you can find everything, links, all of that in the description box below. And I think that's it.
Thank you.
So thank you. Thank you so much.
It's so funny. So I do a lot of Teams, Zoom meetings, and my easel is behind me. And I had that painting on there for the longest time because I was still working on it. And everybody be like, what's that painting back there? And then have a new art director in the photo studio, and he sent me a message, and he's like, "When did you get that painting? It's so nice." And I was like, "I didn't get that painting. I'm working on it." He didn't know because he's new.
Oh.
He's like, "Oh my God, you didn't buy that painting." It's like, no, I don't have like an easel set up. And so funny.